assassin in disguise. Sasquatch! 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 Sasquatch!
Okay, so it's been about 2 weeks since I came down and located the male rattlesnake. Well, I'm back again. I just located him. He's obviously in the same location because he's hibernating. I took a temperature reading of the soil and of the air, you know, the typical biodata that I collect, the biometric data, to help us understand these creatures better. Well, I also am here to search for more sign for the Sasquatch, or whatever it is. And I see nothing. Okay, if you remember, in my the last time I was down here 2 weeks ago, there was still snow on the ground, and I found some tracks leading down the mountain. They started right over there at that log, and they went right down in this little flat area, down near that small spring, crossed the spring, and went up to that log where I found that handprint, that really big handprint. I've walked down there, I've looked around, I see nothing. I found no more sign. I mean, I could have just walked, 2 feet to the right of it. I could have barely missed it, but I just looked in the same places where the tracks were, thinking that this animal may have come back and went to the same water hole. But there's nothing. Now, of course, the snow helped a lot. The snow helps always when you're tracking an animal. In the winter, it's so much easier because they can't help but leave tracks. Just like that same day when I found these tracks, when I was over tracking Zoe on the other side of the mountain, I found tracks crossing the road, if you remember. Well, since there's nothing here, I'm going to head over there and locate her, get her temperature readings, and of course keep my eyes open for more sign and see what I can see. So let's go. The forest is silent. It's very quiet out here today. It's almost like, a storm's coming. Rainstorm, snowstorm, what? Normally right before a storm, all the animals seem to know and they hunker down. Maybe that's what our friend's doing. A lot of you might be wondering, as I'm wondering, what would a creature of this size eat this time of year? When all the trees, well, many of the trees, except for the evergreens, are dormant. I mean, I don't know. The only thing I can figure, based on that one scat sample that we found, there was a lot of plant material in that scat sample. Maybe he eats plants that other animals can't eat. But I haven't found any evidence of that. The other possibility, you see this log back here? Bears love to rip logs apart and dig through the log looking for termites, grubs, worms, things like that. It's a lot of work, but it's less work than killing something. So it's possible he uses logs just like a bear does, tears them apart, and searches for food that way. But think that makes me think about how chimpanzees will use a stick, and they'll stick it down in a hole in a termite mound, and the termites will bite the stick, then they'll pull it out like and then lick the termites off the stick. It's a tool, it's tool use. So maybe our friend, does something similar. I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. That's one reason I want to know as much about this creature as possible. Find out how he lives. And here's another example of what he might eat. Fungi. This is a shelf fungus of some type. Although it's way past its prime, I don't think anything could eat that and gain any nutritive value from it. Okay, so this looks like sulfur shelf, also known as chicken of the forest or chicken of the woods. And, I don't think this has been eaten by any large creature. I think if a large creature was eating this, it would be all gone, especially a creature the size of our friend. And I've eaten sulfur shelf. It's pretty good, but it's not my favorite. But I think if he was eating it, he would be eating it raw. I don't think he has the ability to cook his food. But hey, do we know this yet? I don't know. He may have fire use. I doubt it though, but you just never know. So, sulfur shelf, another possibility. You know, fungi is another possibility of a food source for our friend, the Sasquatch. So the female rattlesnake Zoe is hibernating underground somewhere in this area. I just need to get some temperature readings, and then we'll be done here. So far I haven't seen any more sign. Like I said, back there, nothing. Walking down the hill, which was really short distance from my car up there, you know, nothing here. This whole mountainside is, you know, it's just so thick out in here, and I don't even know where to begin to search. I mean, other than the spring down there. I may go down and poke around at the spring and see if I can see anything. But what I think I will do tonight is head up to the rock shelter, the small one, where I first found the evidence of the Sasquatch making a nest, you know, a bedding area. And since I have a motion activated trail cam, a wildlife camera, I'm going to set that up tonight and see if I can get any kind of footage of anything. We'll see what happens. All right, so I'm at Earthshine, and I'm going to head down and locate Catherine and Jimmy Irwin. And since Jimmy is not that far from the rock shelter where I found that first Sasquatch bed, I'm going to go locate Jimmy first, and then set out the wildlife camera, and we'll see what we can see. Okay, so as I was hiking down the hill here to go locate Jimmy Irwin, I saw something else that might be a potential food source for our friend here. Take a look on the ground. Grass. I mean, I know you might be saying, well, you know, he couldn't eat grass. Of course he could eat grass. In fact, plant material is one of the #1 diet items, if not the #1 diet item for most primates. So he could just be snacking on grass, and you see that? Looks like a tomato, doesn't it? Well, that is a member of the nightshade family, and I'm not sure which species this is, but I know that it's toxic and humans can't eat it. But that doesn't mean our friend can't eat it. He might love this stuff. Who knows? Just like everywhere else on the mountain, it's silent here. And I can see down into where the bed was, but there's nothing there. And it also looks to me like, look at this. It looks to me like he's not been back. Those leaves look wilted, undisturbed since I was here several weeks ago. I see no footprints. It looks exactly the same, just wilted. Could it be that by my presence here, when I came in here and investigated it the first time, that I left a scent, you know, the human scent all over everything? I mean, you know, I laid down here on this bed. So maybe that just ruined it for him. It totally spooked him, and he decided to use another location. Maybe he abandoned this site because of my scent in his bed, and then started using that site. So what I'm going to do, that's my theory anyway, I'm going to set up a camera here, and I probably will not get anything. That's just my scientific assessment of the situation. After I see that this has not been disturbed in any way, he's not built it up, you know, because think about it. If you were sleeping here, you would have to pat it every few days, if not every night, just like primates do. They build a new nest every night, you know, to keep it comfortable. So I don't believe he's been back. I mean, I think he may have come back that night and then smelled my scent here, because, you know, I was here for an hour collecting data. I think he smelled my scent and then just bugged out. Went to the other side of the mountain, made him a new bed in that much larger rock shelter, and hopefully, you know, since we were only there a short time, well, we were there about an hour, but we did not disturb the bed. Alan touched the bed, and I took the hair sample out of the bed, but I did not lay down in the bed. Maybe that's the key. I don't know. The only way to find out is to set a camera up here tonight, and then set a camera up there, which I've been meaning to do. I just haven't had time. I've been so busy. But I need to set a camera up there and see if I can get some footage at either location. Okay, this is my new stealth cam, and I'm going to use this to hopefully get footage of this creature. It's got video and still photography capabilities. It's HD, and it has audio, and of course night vision, infrared emitters here, and they're black emitters, so hopefully the animals that it's taking a picture of will not be able to see the infrared. Some animals seem to be able to detect the infrared emitters on some of the older infrared cameras. This one's brand new. All right, the camera is on. It's set. I have about a minute before the green light stops flashing, but I'm gonna go ahead and wait, and then give it a test and see if it records me. I just want to make sure it is working. So basically, I've set it up here, angled towards the bed, and also towards the trail. I think this is the trail that he uses to come into this rock shelter. You know, there's another little bit of a trail going down here, but it's just so thick and not really anything in that direction. So I'm thinking he's picked this spot because there's only one way in and one way out, and that allows him to be able to, you know, keep an eye on whatever's coming, and nothing can really sneak up on him without him hearing it, because it's going to make so much noise coming through this laurel thicket. You can see that it's counting up, and it'll run for about 1.5 minutes on video mode. So I know that it works. All right. Okay, I've set the camera on test, and as you can see, if you wave around in front of it, it blinks the little green light telling you that it is actually sensing you. So this is the best way to test the camera out and make sure it's going to sense our friend when he comes home. If he comes home. And I doubt he is. It's just my scientific analysis of the situation. I really don't think he's going to come back tonight anyway. But hey, I'm here. I might as well set the camera up, come back tomorrow and check it. Here we go. Oh, good. It's sensing me. Okay, nice. Perfect. All right, that's what I want. Now, I can set it to, I can arm it. Okay, the camera is armed. Let me go see if it's going to trigger. Yes, it did. See the numbers counting up? All right. And we'll leave it alone and come back tomorrow in the morning sometime and check and see if there's anything recorded here from this interesting site. Is it Sasquatch? Or is it something else? Well, I had a good night's sleep in the cottage, and gonna go down and check the camera trap and see if it got any hits. Listen to those crows over there. I don't know what's got them all worked up. I doubt it's the turkeys. Beautiful morning sounds on the mountain. I'm walking down the hill and look what I discovered. A lot of turkey feathers. It's not unusual, but what's kind of unusual is they're in association with this hole, which appears to have another turkey feather in it. Interesting. Okay, these feathers were not shed from a turkey. They were removed from a turkey forcefully. They were broken off. Now, 3 of those were. That one. Very interesting. What happened here? Was it the Sasquatch? I kind of doubt it. I mean, we're just right below the cottage here. I don't think he would come this close to a human-used area. I think this is more maybe a coyote got a turkey and dispatched him here on the spot and ran off with him to eat him. Some feathers were lost in the process. Don't really know about that hole, though. That could be totally unrelated. Okay, I'm just down from where I found the turkey feathers here at the edge of the forest. And I don't know if you can see what I'm seeing here on the ground, but this mountain is covered in turkeys. I mean, all these areas where the ground's been scratched, it's where turkeys have worked the ground in search of food. And I know personally I've counted at least 24 turkeys just here on the mountain, in 3 separate groups, I believe now. That is another possibility of a food source for our friend, because in the winter there's not a lot of plant forage for wildlife, so it's possible he does become omnivorous in the winter. I kind of lean toward this creature being a vegetarian or at least an omnivore most of the time. You know, like most of the great apes, or many of the great apes. Think about a chimpanzee, you know, who eats pretty much plants all the time, but then occasionally goes on raids and kills monkeys and eats them. Well, of course, we got to remember they eat termites as well, so that's a meat. But anyway, the turkey is a possibility. And for that matter, so are deer, rabbits, any animal here in the forest. Well, I got a little bit of a walk ahead of me, about 20 minutes or so. So I will turn the camera back on when I get closer to my destination. Okay, the rock shelter is just over there. It's been a heck of a climb to get up to this point. Going through the laurels now. There's absolutely no way I can sneak up because the leaves and twigs, it's just so noisy. So if he was here, he's long gone. He's probably, if he was here, he's been long gone for a long time because of the crashing I've been making coming up this mountain for the last 20 minutes. Nobody's home. You know, what I noticed yesterday and I didn't mention, look at the trail going into the rock shelter. I mean, I did talk about it, but not from out at this vantage point. Look how worn it is. These leaves are pushbacks. Like, you know, this, like I said yesterday, I think this is the main entrance into the rock shelter, and his feet have been pushing the leaves down, just like mine are doing. All right, have we gotten any hits? None. Absolutely none. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Well, just like I thought. I don't think he's using this site. After I came in here a few weeks ago and disturbed it by laying down. I should never have done that. Then again, it could have just been simply me being here. He could be so sensitive to disturbance, you know. Just coming in here and walking around and leaving my scent. You know, that might be all it takes. So, you know, I mean, I only left the camera here one night also. He may be also sort of nomadic, you know, in that he stays in one place one night or 2 nights, 3 nights, then moves to another side of the mountain, stays there, foraging around looking for food, which would make sense as well. Okay, well, we'll find out eventually. You know, this is a long process, learning all that we can about this new creature. You know, we're using science to reveal the secrets of his life, just like we do with the snakes and the turtles. Okay, so while it may seem like this was not a productive you know, venture by setting this camera up in the woods last night, it was, because this is science. And one of the things we're doing here is ruling out different sites as being occupied by this creature. So this was really good information that we got last night, the fact that nothing visited the rock shelter. Now, next, what we're going to do is set this camera up at that other rock shelter, the larger one that Alan and I found that seemed to have been recently occupied. You know, the bedding area was warm. Again, there was the hair, and we heard that crashing sound off in the woods as we approached the rock shelter. So that's our next step, setting the camera up at the large rock shelter. We'll do that next. So follow us here on Sasquatch Tracks and learn as we learn. This monkey man's got a John Holmes libido. Sasquatch! 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 Sasquatch!